Hi everybody, I'm Christopher Lowell, and today we are going to be flexing our muscles. So what does that mean? Well, think about it. You know, as our families grow and our needs change, often it seems as if, well, we've outgrown our space. You know what I mean? And I hate when that happens. And let's face it, most of us can't just pick up and move, right? So what do you do? Well, how about creating fabulous spaces that are flexibly dual function? Yeah. What's that mean? Well, on today's show, it's all about being flexible. Flexible spaces. Get it? Okay. Now today you watch us as we take a good-sized room like a basement or a garage and convert it into the ultimate online family room. We call it the pod. Cool. Very cool. We're also going to show you how flexible fabrics can be in furnishing a space as well. And we'll show you quick and easy ways to divide and conquer a room where the actual interruption of it becomes a solution. Who knew? And if you want to host a party, a great big party, but you don't think you got the room, well, we're going to show you how you can really flex your muscle and have a party, and you don't even have to be a bouncer. How's that? Okay. Now let's take a look at some of our classic dual function spaces from the past, shall we? Some of these we did this year, some of them we did last year, but I think they're worth taking a look at one more time. Let's take a look at our first space. Now, this space was right here in this house. Here we talked about how many of you have dining room areas, and the fact of the matter is you use that dining room maybe 3 times a year, if that. And if you ain't hosting Christmas, you probably aren't using it more than twice a year, maybe. So what happens is that this very important piece of real estate simply becomes a pass-through area rather than being a real live-in area. So let's go on to the next picture. And we started to add storage and utility to the room. Here we added on both sides, you can't quite see them off this end. On this side and this side, we added bookcases that went all the way up to a top ledge, which provided sort of merchandise heaven up there. And then between the two areas, we added a deacon's bench, okay? And then to connect the deacon's bench, we added 2 boxes here and here for additional ledges. So that allowed us to have this all done. Tchotchkes up here, tchotchkes all in here, and then tchotchkes here on these box ledges. Let's take a look at it now as this formal dining room now becomes a great living space for the entire family. Now let's take a look at what this looks like. Okay, first of all, here's that deacon's bench we just saw, okay? Here you see merchandise, these shelved units on both sides, and you see the ledge that's now been put up at the top, which looks fantastic, okay? This over here was all fitted out. When you open that up, that was actually an entire computer station all in one area, okay? And then what was really cool too is we made these 2 carts, this one cart and this one cart. Now these are separated intentionally, and I'll show you what they do. Let's take a look at the next photograph. Here you see where the 2 carts have now gone side by side. There's one here and one here, okay? They've gone to there. The ottoman that was there has come around to here, which still works fine. The chairs now are ready to be pulled up from all 4 corners of the room to create an instant dining room table with the deacon's bench being at the head of the table. Let's take a look at that. Ta-da! Okay, and as soon as company goes, just by the time they get down to the end of the driveway, you've got your family room back. Love that. Let's take a look at the next one. This was right here in our living room many, many years ago, many moons ago. What we did was we actually quadrant off this area here between the 2 windows here, and we actually put up walls here to show that inside basically a space no bigger than a closet you could put in an entire child's bedroom, all prompted by a letter that we received. Let's take a look at that. Ta-da! Isn't that pretty cool? Here you see a fold-down bed, okay? This padded area back here folds down to create a desk area. This back here is actually, this is open, is actually a closet that turns around, which is very cool. This overhead ledge provides a tremendous amount of overhead storage area. So as kids grow out of toys and become bored with certain toys, they go up. Underneath this bed were 2 pull-out drawers, and under here, the vanity area, there were also storage containers as well, all in a room no bigger than the size of a walk-in closet. Love that. Let's take a look at the next one. Here you see a kind of a dilemma room. Here we had a double bed. There was an opening here, 2 openings on this wall, 2 openings on this wall, and an opening on that wall. Where do you put the beds? Well, we decided that we wanted to put twin beds in this room, so let's take a look at what happened next. Here, we took a couple of bookcases from IKEA, faced them towards a common walk-in closet, added, these aren't tombstones, no one's going to die here, these are actually upholstered headboards. Let's take a look next. There you see it all pulled together, isn't it? It's dramatic looking, and yet both guests have their own storage area behind, because remember, there's a bookcase from behind here as well. They share a common closet, okay? Now, there's not that much space here, but as long as you keep that 18 inches sort of below the waistline, that's all you really need, because all the activity happens there. Let's go on to the next one. This was a dilemma. This was just basically unclaimed space. Not much information here, so let's move right along. Here you see we took basically an office area and actually added a office guest room situation here. Underneath here is actually a pull-out bed underneath here, which also contains area for storage for either pillows, blankets, that sort of a thing. On the opposite side of the room, let's take a look at that. We added this little area. This actually folds down to actually make another desk area here. Let's take a look at the next one. Here you see the bed is all in place over here. That bed can be moved to the other side of the room, where that side, once it's folded up, becomes an upholstered area. Let's take a look at the other side. And here with this down, you see it where it actually becomes a writing desk area, which is so cool. So when this is up, this is padded on the underside, the bed slides there, and you have a dual function space. You actually have 3 complete working spaces in this one space. Love that. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. You know, today more than ever, rooms really need to match our family needs. And let's face it, you know, as we head into the new century, I mean, everyone's going to have to be online. Hate that, love that, who knows. So, earlier in the show, we showed you this room. Let's take a look. The idea here was to build a room that had lots of flex appeal, okay? We start out with a great big sort of rumpus garage conversion area. You name it, whatever space in your home that your family gathers. We painted the space, okay? Let's take a look at the next one. We then decided to create 4 pod units. You're seeing 2 of them and a common television area here. There's an entertainment center here, all right? Once that was done, well, okay. To complete our room, we added some fabric and some accessories and some lighting. So you want to see it? Well, of course you do. I wonder what we did. Could it possibly get any better than this? Welcome back, everybody. Today our show is about rooms with flex appeal. You know what I mean? Rooms that are flexibly dual functional. Now, I get letters about this all the time, so pay attention. Those of you who have written these letters, let's take a look at my drawing pad really quick. I have a lot of you apartment dwellers that say to me, you know what I really can't stand? I can't stand it. You walk through the front door and you just go to sort of go blah, right into my living room, okay? I don't like that either, and I'll tell you one of the reasons why I really don't like that. It's not very good security-wise. It means the minute you open your door, everybody can see everything you got. Not a good idea, is it? So sometimes a barrier would be nice, but we also don't want that barrier to block off valuable living space. Well, what would happen if we actually created some sort of a barrier that would actually go into the center of the room? I'm drawing upside down here, so forgive me. That would sort of give us a place to sit and divide one space for another and create our own little foyer area. How about that? Yeah, nice, okay? Well, I'm gonna show you how to do that. This can go bye-bye, and that can go my script, whoops, okay. Now, here's what I wanna show you. This basically is a nice big movable wall, okay? And this could be about as tall as you want it. This one here is about 8 feet, and it's about 4.5 to 5 feet wide. I would say 3 to 4 feet is good. That way you're not going to have any torquing problems, okay? You can make this as big as you'd like to. You could also cut a hole in it, actually put a false window in it, and this is going to be able to roll around and be dual functional. And basically this is one sheet of MDF sandwiched in between 2 boxes. Duh, how hard is that? But let's build it. Let me show you. One side is done. We're going to show you how to build this side. Here, you'll see we put basically a frame all the way down the bottom, all the way around here, with 2 dividers in the center to have a partition here, okay? That's as much for strength, because we want to be able to sit on this. Basically, this is a movable window bench kind of thingy, sort of, okay? Now, if you'll notice, we've got 3, 2, 1, and 5. That's how many pieces, okay? 5 pieces, and if you'll notice, we've left it away from the edges, and you'll see why in a minute. That's to accommodate our sides and our front, okay? Now, first thing I want to do is separate these 2 pieces with a piece that looks like this. Okay? Just like that. That falls into there. Okay? Number 1 goes here at the very end. This one goes at that end. Excuse me, this turns around. Like so, I think. We'll tell in a minute. Okay? This piece then drops right in to here, like so. Okay? That secures this to the back, but it also is going to give us a place to actually drop our lid with our piano hinge. Before we do that, let's put the front on. Get that nice and secure. Front goes on like so. Okay? This is really easy. Now, again, we're using MDF because it really cuts down on a lot of sanding, but you could make this out of plywood. Make sure you make it out of the paint grade plywood, especially if obviously you want it to look really nice when it's all done. Okay? Then our top is just simply a piano hinged lid. That's all it is. Okay? Now, you can actually bore a little hole in here if you want to. So you have basically a finger hole, but you don't really need it because the lid comes all the way out to the top and it's mounted against that block like so. See how easy that is? Let me turn this around so you can see what the profile of that looks like. There, see that? Got a little bench here and you got a little bench here on both sides. Okay? I turn that all the way around. It looks pretty cool. Now, what we've picked up here is storage on both sides, a nice petition, but we're going to go one step further and actually make the cushion for the top of this. Oh, but before I do that, you could put crown molding for a traditional home if you want to. We decided we wanted to make it really high tech. So what we did was evenly spaced out just a little bit of half molding. You're going to see what it looks like all placed together when it's all finished, okay? When it's all painted. But we won't show that to you in just a minute yet. Then, our cushion obviously will be the size of this. Bet you knew that. Okay. You've seen me do this 1,000,002 times. In this particular case, we're using kind of a sort of a warm gunmetal velvet, which we think is really pretty. All right. There's your good old foam. You can either have it cut in the notion section of a actual place that does foam. Usually they're connected right next to the fabric shops, or you can cut it yourself. It's not real high density. I left myself plenty of seam allowance. Okay. I always like to put a little Super 77 here to hold this thing in place so it doesn't do a lot of shifting while I'm stapling. You decide. This can be obviously created to match anything you have in your house. I always like to start in the middle. Add a couple of secure first, okay, when you get to your corners. Obviously all the way around when you get to your corners. You want to bring your corner back just like you would make your bed. Like so, staple again, and when you end up, when it's all done, you end up with a piece that goes there and ultimately goes there, like so. How cool is that? You can make a back for it too. Exactly the same method that'll simply sit right on top of this. Now you ready to see what it looks like all put together? Okay, here we go. Now we showed you sort of how you can create a false foyer area, but here's another fabulous idea for it. Here you see it all done. It's very sexy, very high-tech looking. Here you see we've added those ribs here, okay? And because it's MDF or wood, we're able to actually merchandise this by hanging a nice picture that goes with this decor. Here you see a nice club area by the fireplace. What's nice about this is you still get nice seating here where you can actually talk to these people here. So you've created a wonderful conversation area here. But what's really nice is you're not looking into an office, which during the day could be potentially a little messy. Let's go to the office side. Here, you see our files and our laptop and all of that. This is our little office space area. But from here, I have an interrupted view, but there's plenty of room on both sides for me to see around the partition, which is nice. So you don't really feel blocked off. It's a nice way of not having to put a wall up. And here you see on this side, it's all upholstered. Don't forget, we've got tons of storage. So office stuff stores under here, magazines and leisure stuff stores under there. Here we've painted the background here frame to match the actual background wall color in silver. How cool is that? Okay?